Got you back up in the window. Uncle Dave with DC's Adventures. Welcome back to the channel. So, I want to talk a little bit about this Taiwan situation that's going on. Because everybody, I follow a bunch of guys. The Canadian Prepper, I love Nate. His channel is great. I've been following him for years, many years. And I like Jack over at Black Scout Survival. I like him. He has a pretty good channel and he's pretty informative. Tim Pool, a couple other guys. I follow these guys that I think are fairly centrist. Well, although Black Scout Survival isn't centrist at all. He's a conservative, hardcore conservative. But most of the guys I follow are pretty centrist, with the exception to him. And I watch a little bit of Crowder too sometimes. But, obviously those guys are a little bit farther over than I want to be. I like to stay fairly center as we can. So, a lot of my ideas and strategies towards these things are going to be related to that centrist way of thinking. And the Taiwan thing, I want to talk about the Taiwan thing a little bit today because all these people are always talking about these microchips that come out of Taiwan, which are very important. They definitely are one of the things that make the world tick. Like, they are important. So I'm not saying that they're not important, but something that people just don't understand is that if there's enough money, something like that, if you have $1 trillion, $1 trillion can get us producing those semiconductors and those microchips really quick, okay? So like everybody makes it seem like this whole pivot point on Taiwan and the Taiwan island is all because of these chips. But we've already pretty much gotten the majority of the scientists, at least the American scientists that were working in those chip factories are already home, I believe, because they were given an ultimatum. But I'm sure a lot of the Taiwanese workers are already over here too, because they were probably offered money, and we probably told the Taiwanese company that they'll still have access to these mines to keep the work going at the factories that are there. But they probably secured some of those people over here just to make sure if they get hit or something, it's not lost, because these are important. Like, they're very small microchips. That's what makes them really important, is that the technology to get them that small is only at that factory or those couple of factories in Taiwan. But the reality is we're building some factories here in America. I believe one's in Texas and one is in Arizona. I'm not positive about that, but it's somewhere over there. We are building 2 factories that are going to basically be able to make at least what they're making now at that factory. They say that factory is so advanced that in the next couple of years, the microchips will be cut in half, the size of them, and that it will take us at these new factories a lot longer to be able to catch up and stay right with them. But like I was saying, that's all about money. If you have enough money, they say those factories are worth $100 billion each or something like that. But if you have $1 trillion to work with, guess what? 2 years, you could have any kind of factory. I don't care what kind of technology it is, okay? Like, that is, you got to realize that in that Inflation Act, one of the biggest things in that Inflation Act was like, I think close to $500 billion, but a lot of money was in that Inflation Act that Biden just signed. It was in there just to make sure that those factories that are being built in America for the microchips have all of the money they need. Whatever they need, it will be there. Like, I'm pretty sure they won't even be going to banks for their loans now. They're going to go to that fund that was allocated, because, like, obviously, if the government sees that there's some sort of manufacturing problem we're having, like with the microchips, if they throw enough money at it, we can take care of that. Okay, so that brings us to this part in the conversation, okay? Like, the microchips are not the only reason why we need to protect Taiwan, okay? And this might be an unpopular stance on the internet, or definitely with the Chinese Communist Party, but, like, the Communist Party is why we need to protect Taiwan. Like, Taiwan is an island, a giant island that is off of the coast of China, and basically, if China takes Taiwan, they're going to have the illest military base protecting their country, a naval base too, it's an island out in the ocean. They're going to have the illest naval base ever protecting their country. And as soon as they take Taiwan, they're probably going to move on North Korea, South Korea, and Japan. All that'll happen very quickly. If they win Taiwan and take Taiwan and start a military base there, within 6 months they're going to take Japan, and they'll take North Korea and South Korea too. So everybody who thinks Kim is such a problem, I'm sorry. China will exterminate Kim Jong and take that country as soon as they can. They're only not doing it right now because there's no world war going on. But as soon as there is a world war, they'll wait until they take Taiwan. But as soon as there's a world war starts and they take Taiwan, once that is done, they're not going to let Kim Jong-un just operate there on the peninsula, right there. Like, there's no way. That's delusional. Maybe they would let Kim Jong march into South Korea and take as much of South Korea and take as much as their fodder as possible. But then as soon as the dust settles from that, China will come in and take South and North Korea. That is 100%. Like, there's no way North Korea is going to end up with China, North Korea, and Japan. That is never going to happen. But China is going to end up with all that stuff. And then as soon as they end up with that stuff, they're going to move to Australia, and then they'll have the whole Pacific. And then they'll be at war with India and all those islands, because that will be the next goal. And it's like, oh, why would they want to take over that? Well, one, it's a communist party. Okay, that's the biggest thing. There's only one thing that the Communist Party can really do on an international stage, and that's dominate other countries and make them communist. Like, that would be the point. Like, a communist country can't survive forever unless everybody becomes communist anyways, because the people who are free, the people who are not free will always strive to be the people who are free. So you can't have those people always there being free, dancing around, having a great time when you're trying to run a strict authoritarian communist country. You can't have it. Like, it's just like you'll always have citizens that are trying to be free. But if you don't have any free competition, then it's really easy to keep a communist country, because that's all the people know, and there's nothing else. There's nothing else to look up to or strive to. So, they won't even think about it. So when you're thinking about Taiwan, it's not about just microchips. Like, if they take Taiwan, they might as well just take the whole Pacific. Like, that's what's going to happen. So if they get Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, North Korea, and eventually even Australia, and probably all the Pacific Islands, and India eventually will probably fall to China, and then the whole world will just fall after that. Like, that's the way it goes. And another thing, it's not about the chips. Another thing that we have to think about is everything's crashing right now. Okay, Bidenflation, whatever you want to call it, everything's crashing right now. But when everything turns around and starts to rebound, we're going to see China's economy double ours. Like, in like a 4 or 5 year period, they're going to double our economy. So then once that happens, if the Communist Party is still in power there and the Chinese haven't got a democracy yet by then, that Chinese... Well, that's just great. I guess the phone died on me. Damn it. Now it doesn't want to sit up in this window. To edit this anyways. All right, well, figures the phone died on me. But anyways, like I was saying, like, once the economy doubles in China, and if the Communist Party is still ruling, like, the whole world is going to have to deal with that, okay? For the rest of forever. Okay? Like, we don't want the Communist Party to leave their borders, okay? And I understand the history of China, and that Taiwan was supposed to go back to them or something, or at least the Hong Kong was supposed to go back to them, and I don't know, China... I'm pretty sure China, there was some sort of like, Taiwan, I believe in that treaty, there might have been something with Taiwan too. I'm not positive about that. But I do know that their history does link them. So it's not like they're just trying to take over a country that has nothing to do with them. Like, China was maybe part of China, Taiwan was part of China at some point or something kind of like that. But like, it doesn't matter. Like, as soon as they start spreading into the Pacific, they're going to spread everywhere. And once their economy is 3 or 4 times what ours is, or what any other superpower is, it's going to be really impossible to stop them from spreading influence to every single country in the world. And yeah, I mean, as an American, I don't want to see communism spread to all over the world, right? Maybe if you're from a communist country, you think, oh, well, I don't want the Americans spreading all over the world like we kind of do. You know, when we set up bases in people's places, we give them freedom. We let them vote on who they want to control their place. We give them, it's a democracy once we have bases there. So it's not going to be that like that with China. When China has bases in places, it's going to be a communist dictatorship from the Chinese government. And yeah, that's what we're trying to avoid, I would think. You know, as an American, that's what I think that we'd want to avoid. But either way, there's going to be a war and everything, because once their economy is so much bigger than ours, there's no way they're going to let us still be the superpower. So just as an American, you need to know that, and you need to see that is what the future is with the Chinese Communist Party. And India is worried about the same thing they're looking at. And even Russia is worried about the same thing. Like, this is totally off subject, but like they always used to say that like Trump was like working with Putin or whatever. But I believe that Trump just realized that we needed Putin to be an ally, because everybody knows that the war with China was coming, because their economy is eventually going to be a great deal bigger than ours, which means they will be in position to take the superpower title. And anytime a country is in position to take a super title, they want to do it. You know, they're not going to just not do it. You know, they want to do it, and because you get the benefits of having the global dollar and everything. You know, like what everybody's using, or the petrodollar, or whatever they want to call it these days. But it's the dollar everybody's using for global banking. And if their economy is 3 times more than ours, they're not going to want to use our dollar for their global banking. That doesn't make much sense for them. So a war will always have to come in one of those situations. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Maybe you guys think I'm wrong. Maybe you guys have some more information. Sucks that this phone died. I was talking to you guys for a long time after the phone died on me. I had a good groove going originally, but anyways, let me know in the comments what you guys think. And Uncle Dave with Deece's Adventures. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks.